Ooh, Moza SG sequential sift.
I love the energy, Kent. I think we're going to roll with it someday.
Is that USB?
Monster.
But nobody else added
feeling
any surprise
energetic.
topics. I'm still
Okay. Here we go. All right. Let's do it. Let's do the show.
Okay.
Hello, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. We're at episode 788. This is being recorded on August 28, 2024. This is going to be our best show ever. It's Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
Ha 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 ha! Welcome. I'm Joshua.
To Zombocom.
Sorry. No. That was
Aqua Teen.
Freddie goes to Hollywood.
That was Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Frankie goes to Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of their songs. Started out with some.
Okay. Oh, that's where they got it from.
I think it was. No, it was.
Frankie, say relax.
No, it was. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. And Xanadu did Kubla Khan, a Pleasure Dome, erect.
And on that note, I'm Kent Burgess. Welcome to my Pleasure Dome.
Wait, did Brett introduce himself? I don't remember. There's been a lot of talking.
I slipped it under the Pleasure Dome edge.
Okay. This is no longer going to be the best podcast ever.
It was for like 10 seconds. It was great.
But it won't be the worst. Maybe.
We'll leave leave your comments below if you're watching the YouTube version of this. Let us know, is this in fact the worst podcast we've ever done? On that note, you can support us. Go to patreon.com.
And why would you want to?
Just ignore this show. Once you get to this point, just go to patreon.com/PCPer and don't watch any further. Yeah. And you can support us financially, like SS Diggs, Lion Steel, and our old friend, Biker Chris.
These are all long-time members. Hopefully they stay. Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Biker Chris.
It's okay. They're addicted now, so.
It's like you can't stop. It's like turning away from a car accident. You just can't do it.
Oh, and if you haven't watched since 2018, Ryan's not here anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
And I'm Kent
in front of that one.
And Kent is the other guy. Yeah.
And Alan's gone.
Yeah. Allyn is like a genie in a bottle. We just have to rub him the right way.
Only a step away.
You could summon him. Mm-hmm.
Is that Christina Aguilera?
Yes, I was quoting Christina Aguilera, circa 1999.
But if you've ever seen Alan Malventano dance, he moves just like Christina Aguilera.
I would not doubt that at all.
And we're off.
We're certainly off.
That's it for the show.
All right.
Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to beer now.
Best one ever.
Well,
because
you know what time it is.
We're going to move immediately to the Josh food segment. Josh, take it away.
Okay. Well, you know what? I had to do it. I really had to do it. Not only did I do it, I did it, and I would do it again. So don't tell me I don't want to do it. I had to get the burger, but not the bugger burger.
Not the bugger burger.
Not at all. No bugger burger. No, this is the butter burger. 1/4 pound smash patty, garlic, herb, butter, white American cheese, and that's it. I had them double the patties, so it was a double butter burger. Double butter burger.
Say that 3 times fast.
Exactly. And it was tasty. It was very buttery. It had plenty of white American cheese, which not my favorite, but it worked. And so everything was nicely cooked. Nothing was rare. It was still juicy, very buttery. Garlic. There was some herbs. I passed on the tomato, onion, and lettuce and just had the full butter experience. The fries were, again, nicely cooked, prepared with a rosemary salt. Very good. An outstanding combination of flavors to make my lunch period quite enjoyable. If only I could do a Christopher Walken accent and then I'd just tell you about it. But no, that's terrible. Anyway,
you should do that.
Can you do Matthew McConaughey?
I'm not stoned enough.
Question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
yeah,
all
it was
right,
it was a
all
good
right.
burger.
So the rosemary salt's a thing now, I guess. That's what 3
It
weeks in a row.
is. You know, that guy down in Texas who says, "If you know, you know." I don't know, but you know,
You don't
that
know.
guy can cook. He always talks about rosemary salt, and you know, it is flavorful, and it's taken me a little bit to get used to, but now that I have, it's quite pleasant.
They got you hooked.
Quite.
They got you hooked on the spice.
What is it? If you eat something like 28 times, you'll start to like it. So if you don't like fish or shrimp or lobster and that, if you just push through and eat it that many times, your palate changes.
28
and you'll
times?
start liking.
Is this how foodies live? Like they eat terrible things like arugula, but they eat them so many times they actually think
They
they're
start
good.
liking it. I wouldn't.
And then they
have it.
start calling it rocket to pretend that it's not the same thing and tastes better.
By the way, sorry for offending the people who like arugula. Let's move to news, and not just any news. Financial news of the NVIDIA variety, the most important kind. You know that NVIDIA sets the tone for
The vibe,
all. Yeah.
if you will.
Everybody's just hanging on every whisper from
Josh Inc.
Jensen. How did it go?
It went really good. They had a quarterly revenue of $30 billion. Now, when I say $30 billion, I mean $30 billion, people. This is just a lot of money. It's probably the greatest quarter that NVIDIA has ever had, which literally it is, because if you look back 1 year ago, they were at $13 billion. So they grew by $17 billion in 1 year, 122% from a year ago. Now, if I had grown 122%, that means that I would be 450 pounds. And we don't want that. We don't want that. But NVIDIA growing 122% is a big deal. And their data center revenue was $26.3 billion, up 16% from Q1 and 154% from a year ago. This company is doing large things, and they are riding that wave. Maybe they're riding a bubble. I don't know yet, because this is actually a solution to a problem that we have, which is productivity, it's machine learning, it's data amalgamation and analysis. It's so much. And all these guys, Meta, Amazon, whoever, they're buying these things as fast as they can. And they're producing as much as they can. And Blackwell is probably going to overwhelm Hopper revenues next quarter. And of course, Blackwell had some issues, but they talked about it this, discussion today, where they had metal layer changes to improve yields dramatically. So they had to order, new sets of masks for this manufacturing node. And yeah, it's apparently improved yields dramatically. And they're going to make a lot of money in Q4. They're planning on a couple billion more, and they're selling a lot of these Blackwell. And it's just their regular graphics portion was $2.8 billion, which 5 years ago that would have been a great thing by itself. But it is now just overshadowed by what they are shipping for AI. And their NVLink has massively improved with this generation of stuff. So they have multiple nodes in there, and it all acts like one large chip, or at least so they claim. And from what it looks like, That's not very far off the results. So yeah, NVIDIA is smashing it. And there's Intel. Once the 800-pound gorilla of the semiconductor industry, sitting at about $13 billion this last quarter. NVIDIA is at 30. So that's about 10 billion more than what Intel and AMD is able to do together. That's just nuts. Great for them. Their share price after hours took some hits, down about 4%, but a lot of that, could be some profit taking, and the way that their trajectory is going, and the way that AI stuff looks like, and what people like the big companies, Amazon, Meta, and others, are investing in AI in the next year, and the budgets that they are talking about, NVIDIA is going to make more bank. It's like 32 billion next quarter. They're going to be another 2 billion after that. So $34 billion. It just keeps growing. Eventually maybe things will pop. Or they will continue to find new applications to throw this technology at, which, considering how overpopulated we are in the world with data that has not been analyzed, I don't know. I thought that around Q3, Q4 this year, we'd kind of start seeing some softness in the bubble burst. That's not the case. And it just keeps going and going and going. So they're, kind of approaching Apple territory, which is a big deal. But the one thing to look at, their margins have been eroding. And part of that is you got to have more R&D to get all these things to work together. Manufacturing costs are increasing dramatically. Substrate costs of the different packaging technologies that they need to use to get the most performance out of this. They make each one of these successful chips more expensive to produce, and they're a larger percentage of these chips as a whole that are defective because the manufacturing is still not 100%. So yeah, they're doing well. If you had started work at NVIDIA in 1998 and did all your little shares, every reinvestment and gotten more shares and just rode the highs and lows and kept working your 7 days a week, you'd be a multi-millionaire well over if you just left that all alone. There is one guy apparently who did that and is worth $64 to $70 million. And this is just kind of an engineer who reinvested yearly bonuses into shares.
An NVIDIA stock from 5 years ago has apparently increased in value 3,000% over the past 5 years.
That's good living.
I really wish I'd thrown some money in.
It really sounds like it's a bubble.
Oh, it will be. Because right now, there is only one AI product that counts, and that is money. AI makes money. It doesn't do much else.
Artificial money. It's artificial investment. AI.
Oh, nice.
Josh, this is Sebastian from the West Michigan Newsroom. Can you please give our viewers some insight into understanding GAAP versus non-GAAP? I think this is probably a really hot topic that a lot of people are curious about.
For NVIDIA
segments,
there is no difference between GAAP and non-GAAP. So GAAP means
operating expenses seem different.
Yeah, but look at their actual overall numbers. It's the
same.
It's the same.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, they adjusted their non-GAAP to make it very similar in terms of taxes and all of that stuff. And so there are small differences here and there, but it's
and when you're living a year in the future, you can do this sort of thing.
Right. They're making their own standards. Like NVIDIA
this is Q2 financial year 2025
practices
that they're putting up.
Okay, I guess it used to be that the GAAP and non-GAAP was very little in between. But now it is quite a bit significantly. Usually,
well, for AMD,
gap includes one-time charges and a few more taxable things that typically will come in lower in terms of net revenue and whatnot. And so non-GAAP is accounting practices from 20 years ago, kind of, that don't count some of these things that. But yeah, still, even looking at GAAP, they're just kicking that pig.
But other companies, the difference between their normal, their what is it, the stated income and the GAAP income, there is a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
Intel and AMD both. But NVIDIA, as I say, living in the future in 2025, there is no gap between the non-GAAP and GAAP.
Yeah, thank you. I was just hoping to make that segment longer.
Oh, I was trying.
If possible.
We want to go home.
Okay, let's move on to news beyond the financial front. And this is actually really exciting. For the first time, I'm feeling positive about Windows 11 because...
Why?
It won't last. But
Windows 11, it's the latest and greatest operating system from Microsoft, as you know. And we've kind of been down on it a little bit since it came out. But now they're dangling free performance upgrades for AMD users. If you have a Ryzen CPU, you may have been affected by a loss of performance. And you can simply go to Microsoft Update to see if you win free performance enhancement. 24H2 and apparently also 23H2 give you performance boosts. There's CPU scheduler optimizations. The update enables them for typical user accounts as well. No more of this, you're testing it wrong, you weren't in the right account. It's just going to work for everybody.
You're going to have to benchmark some more.
Now, there's a lot of stuff that I've have to redo because I've been doing it wrong. And on different builds of Windows. So old and new Ryzen CPUs get a speed boost from this optional Windows update. It should be absolutely mandatory.
Yeah, I believe the underlying change is they return to branch prediction. Can anyone remember Spectre? Can anyone say Spectre?
Yes.
Yes, and that was a branch prediction bit of malware that Windows was essentially forced to, and Intel was forced to pull back on. So they pulled that back out.
Except when you were running
branch prediction is always there. It just is the efficiency of what they're doing,
deep the
and
pipeline
things that they change in the microcode. So yeah, I don't think that this is them walking back Spectre protections. But it's different because it does not seemingly affect Intel processors. And so it kind of seems like Microsoft was kind of sandbagging AMD a bit because they were supposed to release this with 24H2 for Windows 11. And then all this stuff came out. And suddenly it's like, hey, if you go and check your Windows update, you can see this KB, I can't remember the name, but it ends with like 17, that you can install. And it's a preview, and suddenly that you get all these extra kind of gaming performance with your Ryzen 5000 through 9000 CPUs. And they just let it out there. So it means that Microsoft has been working on this for a while, and they were confident enough to let it out in the wild. So what the heck? I don't get it. But, hey, who am I to complain about free performance upgrades? Who?
Yeah, so far I haven't crashed. I threw it on this morning on this machine just to see. Because it is essentially the roll-up preview. And don't worry, 2023H2 will be coming eventually. Officially.
You can get
to the update.
You can get the important part of the patch through advanced.
Well, there's more than that that should be coming, but we'll see. But again, you got to test. You got to be gaming like Sebastian to be able to really notice it.
Well, really, yeah, you have to game
on a 3090
at a low
1080p
resolution, low graphical detail settings to really see the biggest performance impact from CPU scaling with your 4090, the one that everybody has, of course, with their 1080p monitor.
And the other thing they mentioned was heavily multi-threaded applications that do depend on the CPU. You're probably not going to see much difference at all. There are a couple of things that
AMD says
found.
6% faster with Procyon, however that's pronounced.
Yes.
It's the 3D Mark, like the, not 3D Mark, the UL benchmark that does like Office applications and stuff.
But you won't actually notice it in Office, apparently. Not that it's easy to benchmark Office, but...
Hey, higher FPS in Office. It's noticeable. To get a higher refresh monitor, Jeremy. Don't tell me you don't notice the higher FPS in Excel.
Yeah, well, but it's Access that I'm using right now, so...
Oh, okay. There's no help for you then.
No, none. Really, none.
It's time for some video cards coverage. RDNA 4 rumors. RX 8000 leaked. And I'm sure it's going to blow us away.
It's not really kind of a blowing us away sort of moment here. I think the most interesting part here is that there's certain memory configurations that even though these won't be high-end enthusiast like 88, 8900 series cards, the memory configurations that they're coming out with, even in the mid-tier cards, are going to have bandwidth that's apparently greater than the current 7800 XT or the 7900 GRE, which may make them fairly reasonable. Yeah, not everyone.
I'm contractually obligated to say Intel Arc A770.
Sorry, that was a little muffled. Could you repeat that, please?
The Intel Arc A770. It has a lot of bandwidth and 16 gigs of memory. So there.
Cool. All right, going back to the AMD story, 16 gigabytes of memory really is the magic number because we're going from a high of 24 gigabytes with the previous gen to 16 again with the 8000 series. So they're gonna pull a 6000 series and go 16 and 16 for the two high end SKUs according to this leak. Even the XTX 16 gigs GDDR6, same clock as last year, fewer stream processors. Actually, possibly less Infinity cache. I saw something on Twitter this morning where we were saying it might be like 64 megabytes.
64 megs, yeah.
Max instead of, what was it, 96 before?
I think so.
Didn't they have 128 at one point and then it went down to 96 and now we're just at 64? Is it that? I guess it's faster, maybe?
No, they because it was a chiplet technology, they had a second layer on the memory chiplets that would give you a ton more memory, but then they did testing on it, and the performance improvement was garbage as compared to how much more expensive that chip was. But no, this is almost like the 5000 series. I mean, the 5700 XT was a 1080 Ti competitor at a much lower cost, but that was their high end of that generation. Wasn't anything more.
The 57
there was supposed to be a higher end version of the 8000 series, but they abandoned it due to, I think, architectural issues with a multi-chip technology that they were hoping to, expand into here. Because from all my understanding, the 8800 XT is going to be a single monolithic chip that they've kind of gotten away from the chiplets that the 7000, the high-end 7000 series, and the 7800 through 7900 all featured chiplets of one way or another. The bonding and interposer and all that caused issues with overall latency as compared to a monolithic die, and also the cost of manufacturing these things. I could be wrong, but I believe the 8800
is a monolithic die.
Monolithic chip.
Although I don't think it's your grandfather's monolithic die. I think they've evolved with the chiplets to sort of do that sort of thing inside of it. But yeah.
Kyle has added from the YouTube chat that, yes, it's all monolithic. 2 bins of 2 dies.
2 bins of 2 dies. Exactly.
Let's just take a trip back in time to the 6000 series where we had just, it was the good old days. 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 across the board.
I'm still running a 6800 XT. What are you talking about?
With all that you have double the Infinity cache of the next gen. Yet to come.
128. You were right. It wasn't 96. It was 128.
No. It went down to 96 with the lower end SKUs, and then we're now just topping out at like 64.
I've had this card for almost 4 years now. That's depressing.
They're very
Does it
handsome
still game?
cards.
Does it still game?
It's still
though?
games. It still games at 40 between 40p. Not a problem.
I was quite happy with jumping from a 3080 RTX 3080 to a 4070 Ti Super.
Yeah.
It was a significant jump, but it was also $800. So yeah, not fun.
And then Kazakhstan, we're talking 12, 14. So
Ouch.
I haven't upgraded in a couple of years.
So the guesses here is this range tops out at the 80, 800, the 8 series, or the 8 XT, whatever.
And I think they had made the statement a few months ago that they were not looking to compete at the top end this next generation.
They are not.
They wanted to focus on low to mid range cards, and that's where the majority of graphics card sales is low to mid range.
That doesn't mean they're
the
not going to be
7800 XT has been one of the best selling cards that AMD has ever released. And that's at that 450, 500 mark. So, you're looking at that definite meat of the market. They'll probably introduce the 8800 XT at 550 and slowly go down. But things about this is that they fix a lot of issues with RDNA 3. And they actually add in dedicated ray tracing hardware, so they don't actually, utilize one of the cores of vector units for just ray tracing entirely on RDNA 3, a software-based solution, if you will.
Well, you're saying they have a new architecture from the ground up? I guess it could be because it's monolithic. Yeah. They're not just reusing.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. No, it's something new.
RDNA 4 is very new.
Okay.
Well,
that's good.
Memory bandwidth is going to be up. Stream processors is going to be up. It's likely that as long as they get the
How is memory
there,
bandwidth going to be up when they're on 20 gigabit per second GDDR6 and they're on a 256-bit interface?
Yeah, it's not going to be up, but it's
less infinity cache.
I think the math works out to 640 gigabits a second.
The prefetch is going to be awesome.
Okay.
And the 7800 maxed out at 576.
7800. Okay, so you're not comparing this to the 79 and XT.
No.
XTX. You're not comparing them at all. Okay.
No, that's not comparable.
I'm just comparing like high end to high end. If they're just skipping high end, then we have to compare mid range to mid range.
They're not,
okay.
Not doing skipping high end. Yeah.
Fine. Fair enough. As long as the price is right, that's all that really matters. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I got news for you.
What?
It probably won't be.
Oh, come on. They can't. Where are they in the market that they can say, no, we're going to make this a premium price product too?
Well, no, we're just going to make it slightly cheaper than NVIDIA, which
they always like to be $50 below. I know. It's like, okay. I mean, there's a lot to like, and it's $50 less. And if you only do raster, that's great. But if the new one is also priced that way and has like ARC level ray tracing performance, then that could be very exciting.
It is.
Speaking of RDNA 4, the latest, this is tagged as a leak. The RX 8000, aka RDNA 4, spotted on Geekbench. Now, the results here are not good. So I'm guessing this is an early example of one of the cards.
Well, it's also compute.
But still, I mean, OpenCL should be better than this.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
It is very low.
It does confirm
OpenCL.
16 gigabytes of VRAM, though, so it's no longer...
Right, yeah, the specs seem to look... Yeah, it shows the 2.1 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of memory. This is only a 28 compute unit device, though. So
because it should be double that easily.
Yeah, so something's wrong here. Which would explain why, if you're using the 7900 XTX as the benchmark, this result is only 16% of that. So, 80+% slower. Seems odd.
Because AMD has never had a reputation of sandbagging performance when they release initial cards to their partners to design around, and BIOSes and firmwares and
never
drivers and things like that.
That sounds like a tongue firmly planted in cheek statement, really, there.
Yeah. Because it only started with like the K7 back in 1999. that they sandbagged so badly that everybody thought the Athlon was going to be a bust, and suddenly it was not.
Maybe it just took having working motherboards for that to be a success.
Yeah.
What if the early test results out there were just because the boards were so broken they could not run them past like 100 megahertz?
No, the sample that the Sharky Extreme was given was kneecapped horribly. So,
hey, speaking of old hardware outlets, Tom's Hardware still exists. So let's look at a story from there. MSI X800 series boards are said to have an extra 8-pin PCIe power connector for, quote, next-gen GPUs unofficially aimed at the GeForce RTX 50 series. I thought, okay, why would it be an 8-pin if it's specifically for GeForce cards?
So you can have to buy an
did you
adapter.
read what that said?
No. I mean, yeah.
So it
No.
pull 225 watts from the PCIe slot alone. Usually PCIe slot is 75 watts.
Yes.
But they have developed a pin solution that will take up to 225 watts from the motherboard itself. To the
Right,
graphics
and we've
card.
seen those in some of those reverse connector motherboards where there's an extra. It's
Yeah,
like
but
a server.
no, this is
different. This is just a 8-pin where you have to connect a cable. Are you going to bring 8-pin power over to the slot and just pump in extra power? It sounds really safe.
Yes.
A couple of the designs that I saw had it at the bottom with the I/O pieces. I don't know if that picture.
I want to see some pictures
shows
of this because this is just a
Let me see if I can
generic.
find one. I had
MSI
one.
photo.
Yeah, those are generic.
Okay. Yeah, it should be a 12-volt high power is my point. Why would it be an 8-pin?
Well, unless we're going to get rid of the 12-volt Vooper.
Well, maybe
which
MSI
wouldn't be
just
bad.
doesn't want you to melt your 12-volt high power cable. So they're giving you the option of a more robust 8-pin to take some of that load off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which
So there
will
we are,
totally
the
not
load
melt
off,
your
man.
PCIe slot. It'll be
At
fine.
the bottom edge.
It'll be
Okay,
just fine.
People could be reading that this could be absolutely accurate, or there are boards now. I have an MSI board for an AM5 platform here with an 8-pin. It's just to help
Notice
provide
how it's
additional
already
power.
suddenly glowing red in the picture.
That's. I think
not-
that's for effect.
I don't know about
Is
that.
it? What do you think of the CMOS battery placement, by the way? It seems like you could
It's
finagle
crap.
it out. From
Hey,
I don't know, what
that's
if you-
easy to get to if you
It
don't
does look
plug
easier to get to.
anything in.
Maury, if you're watching, let us know in the comments. What do you think of that CMOS battery placement? Used to be an important metric at PC Perspective.
Yeah.
Still is. We just don't talk about it enough.
All right, next news story. Microsoft. Now, we thought they were our friend because they're giving us free performance updates for Ryzen. Microsoft is plotting to murder the only good thing left in Windows 11, which is, of course, the traditional control panel.
Because remember, back in the day, kids, Task Manager was not an Explorer process. It was a completely separate process which would run even after Explorer went to go push up the daisies and, sing to the choir in Visibule. So on a Friday, well, actually, it was I believe it was late on a Thursday, they announced that the control panel exists for compatibility reasons, but we're not really interested in continuing with this because we find it very disappointing that you don't love the settings app. And, it's more immersive if you have to click 8 times to get to a setting you want as opposed to 2. I mean, it gets you more involved, right? And the weekend happened. And many of us, have a bit of time on the weekend to bitch and scream even louder than we do when we see this sort of thing at work. And by Monday, Microsoft had changed the wording of their update to say that we're just enhancing the settings app. But there's been a lot of people really upset that we're getting rid of Control Panel. And, maybe we're just not going to put the effort into getting completely rid of it.
So much ado about nothing is what you're saying.
We complained. They realized by Monday that this was a very bad idea. There's a reason the Windows Phone died, but yet they still want to keep that UI that's,
All right, moving on. Last news story from the Register. Microsoft Bing Copilot accuses reporter of crimes that he covered. Oh, more AI hallucinations. This sounds like a good story.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
AI is
utterly
going to solve.
hilarious.
It's going to solve so many problems. So this guy, this is from the UK, I'm pretty sure. So this guy reports on all kinds
And Germany.
I apologize, Germany. So he reports on all kinds of nasty crimes and people that have people committed really horrible things. And just because his name has been simply attached to the articles, he asked him the AI about himself, and it regurgitates all of this material that closely associates him that he was a perpetrator in various crimes, and it clearly could potentially affect him personally. If somebody's
and even better,
looking them up or whatever, because isn't that very common in today? Job interviews, you look up their name or ask the AI, tell me about this person. Summarize me this person's their involvement in social media or what they've happened to them in life, and it kicks out this stuff. This is deadly. AI is not your friend.
Hey, this could actually be a good way of screening future employers, because you could say, hold on. You just brought that up. That's interesting. That means that you used AI to research me.
Interesting.
I don't want to work for you. This is nonsense.
but you used AI to figure that out, didn't you?
At least Microsoft said we use feedback like this to reevaluate our platform and tune it a little bit more. And
as long as the money keeps coming in, they will keep doing whatever they want.
They will.
Yep. We promise to keep Control Panel forever now. Thank you for your feedback.
And the lawyer also decided to check out a judge that he knew. And so the judge is essentially guilty of all the crimes that he sentenced people to, according to
the
Copilot.
judge.
AI is smart.
That's one that I missed.
Smart.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
So smart.
Yes.
Actually, there's no
Towards
intelligence
the end of the
involved. It's
article.
just large language models, and they have no intelligence whatsoever.
Look up tokenization. That'll teach you.
Well,
Let's move
'cause
to Insecurity Corner. And our first story, let's talk about QR code hygiene. Don't just trust strange QR codes, people, because they're a fisher's best friend.
they really and truly are, because you don't necessarily click on the link in a strange email, but you will walk into a completely strange restaurant and scan that QR code and go to that website directly without even questioning it for a millisecond.
You mean the bad actor that taped a QR code that says "scan this for the menu" on the table?
Yeah,
that's
that's
wrong. That's wrong.
No, it's not necessarily wrong, because you teach someone a lesson because they deserve it. Don't trust your QR codes, kids. Or in this particular case, it is a fun little, and we'll bring up AI into it, Microsoft Sway, which essentially is a way of getting your computer to put together a PowerPoint presentation so that you can just put it onto the web, and is very, very popular with upper level management. And so there has been a campaign of sending emails out to C-level people with a QR code to, authenticate themselves so they can go into Microsoft Sway. And because this is more of a
campaign from the bad people. The campaign from the bad people. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is mostly targeted. They know who they're going after. So they're doing a whole bunch of stuff so that, as far as you can tell, you are going to sway.cloud on Microsoft. But there is a transparent layer over top of that, which is capturing everything you're typing into it and able to capture the MFA code going back and forth. They literally paid Cloudflare Turnstile, which is a service to prevent your system from being hit by bots, to obfuscate this from any AV scanner, because the AV scanner can be treated as a bot and just sort of, pushed away. doesn't come back as a bad hit. It comes back as a, no, it wasn't scanned. Everything's fine. That means Google Safe Browsing says, oh, no, this site is just fine. That HTTPS, the click on the top, you are locked and good to go. And they stole a lot of credentials, probably over 100 of C-level people off of this. The reason they caught it was because they noticed a huge, several thousand-fold increase in phishing attacks against Microsoft Sway. And so they started looking into it, and okay, it's a QR code. Oh, the QR code is technically leading you to the right site, except you go to a different site first and then to that site. So now they've got control over everything. It's, awful. Just don't trust QR codes. They're just they're too convenient. When something is too easy,
order a sandwich,
you have to question it.
All I want's a drink and a sandwich. Can't I just scan the QR code that's taped to the table for that?
Well, they told me, you just scan the QR code for the menu.
Yeah.
So many places around here that do that.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's literally, you walk down the street and they're like, hey, scan this QR code for the next deal on this. No, I don't
put them
think
in
I
commercials.
will. Thank you very much.
They put them on YouTube pre-rolls. They're everywhere.
If you have Hulu, if you pause a show, it puts a QR code for like Progressive Insurance or something right up on the screen, on your pause screen.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really for Progressive Insurance?
I don't know.
We get to talk to Flo.
Actor. Sorry, Kent. What?
I actually feel kind of like part of the problem on this. Every day at work, I put up a science fact of the day. That's something that's happened scientifically on that day in history. And since it's just a little one-pager, I'll create a QR code to like the Wikipedia story of it.
Well,
are you fishing?
Sounds like you can set up a learning experience for your coworkers here.
You could learn them now.
Look what you learn hard. This is a phishing site. You have just been scammed. Please do not scan random QR codes.
Are you feeling boned?
Oh, I know what Josh is doing tomorrow.
Brings a whole new meaning to the term fishing off the company pier, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
YouTube chat implies that Kent is playing the long game and really drawing them in.
Exactly. Like, oh, look,
for the kill.
Trustworthy Kent with another wiki. Oh, my God. And then you see something you can never unsee.
Like
I've never seen the .cx domain before.
Put in your account details of your savings and
okay.
account.
That's not what I was thinking, but okay.
What was the name of your first pet, anyways?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
What street did you go up on?
Just out of curiosity, what's your mother's maiden name again? Just Kent.
Why does Kent's
Kent
QR
Allyn.
code link to my bank?
In a related story, Mere PPC on the Discord chat posted that the LA link to an LA Times story where someone has gone around posting fake QR codes on parking meters all around Los Angeles.
Yes.
Pay here.
In a
label.
some sort of a
Yes,
queefing
great.
scam.
Yeah, just put in your credit card number. Yeah, expiration.
Yeah.
Give me
Pay
the 3-digit security code.
What's your
Thank you very much.
CVT number or whatever that is?
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Why did I get a parking ticket?
I paid over
And,
$30.
And a $3,000 charge on your Visa. How did that happen?
All right, we should move to the second story. The signal bleeding computer. Google tags a 10th Chrome zero-day exploit this year. It was already exploited.
I mean, it's important
Hey,
to
Josh,
celebrate.
are you pushing Chrome through Intune yet?
It's important to celebrate.
No.
Every
We
10th.
should.
Why?
Because this is how I'm forcing all of my machines to upgrade 10 times now this year. It's actually
This
pretty
is
easy.
a bad
It's MSI.
one.
It fills out most of it for you, but this one is a bad one.
It's a JavaScript engine, and it's browsable, meaning a bad actor only has to throw up a web page and get you to scan a QR code. Let me just do a throwback on that one. And if you visit the web page and they have the vulnerability embedded within it using the JavaScript technique that's exploitable, they can own your browser and then wedge their way into your computer and start to do things like keyboard capture, and start looking at you logging into all of your accounts. You don't want that. Only Kent wants that, but you don't. Make it stop. Kent, stop it.
Update your Chrome again.
And update your TV. Samsung television owners, Samsung has pledged 7 years of updates starting with 2023 models. So, I mean, if you buy a TV now or bought one last year, you'll get updates into 2030, it sounds like.
Yes, which is huge.
This is a good news story, actually, from the security perspective, that they're actually going to update old TV. Well, old. I guess 7 years. Is 7 years an old TV nowadays?
It's pretty old these days.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be on 8K by then. And
I mean, if you wanted to start a conspiracy theory, you'd be saying, oh, well, they realize that they're not going to be any huge jumps in TV technology for a couple of years, so we're going to go with a huge warranty. I prefer to just think, no, they finally realized that along with updating their smartphones, their boats, their military systems, Samsung should maybe, update their TVs as well.
And hey, maybe they'll take a page out of Apple's playbook and make the TV slower over time and more useless so that you have to buy a new Samsung TV.
I'm sorry, it's old. It's only 3.5K now. But you can upgrade to the new TV.
Will they send you a little card with a code on it that you buy at Best Buy?
A QR code?
No.
It's the future of everything. Gift cards in the future will have a QR code.
I can't trust Best Buy anymore.
What do you mean anymore?
When they stopped carrying physical media, I started to get suspicious about Best Buy.
All right.
Let's move to gaming quick hits, and we're going to start with a story about this game called Star Wars Outlaws, which Jeremy says is a bit of a trek. I like what you did there. Trek.
Thank you.
Star. Often rewarding, says Rock, Paper, Shotgun.
Yeah, and I mentioned that it's not that people hated it, they just didn't like it. It's sort of an in-betweener. And I was corrected immediately and said, no, a lot of people hated it. Like, okay, fine. A lot of people hate a lot of things.
There's some goofy. Apparently, there's some goofy things. Like if you want to do total stealth missions, suddenly you're like dragging a character across the entire screen and everybody sees you. So stealth is no bueno.
Yeah,
but
there was a mention of like literally
RTX
taking
stuff?
out.
I mean, it looks good. It plays okay. But hopefully, and we can only say hopefully, that they take the No Man's Sky philosophy of improving your game for the people who have already bought it and making it well worth their while.
This looks old. This game does not look like it just came out.
Well, this is your Starfield. Instead of quick travel between planets, you are apparently offered a chance to do some dogfighting of some sort. But yeah, it does not look necessarily as gorgeous, but that could be a screenshot, or because apparently it is kind of pretty when you're walking around doing stuff.
I just looked up when No Man's Sky actually started. That was
4 years ago?
2016.
Yeah.
8 years
Long
ago.
time
What?
ago.
2016.
That's insane.
And the game is so incredibly different now than what it was.
Well, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Wait, so I should play it now?
It's not done.
I've literally never fired it up.
I'm hoping this reviewer just took screenshots from a laptop running it at like 1080 low.
No, you mentioned that there was a weird cropping and
dreadful.
That is
look
weird.
Look at
That
the
is
textures.
weird.
Look at the hair.
But
what hair?
Remember, who made this?
I don't know.
Ubisoft.
Credit Ubisoft. It's Bethesda.
Bethesda.
It's what it's going to be. One of the things that, and I will come back to this a little bit later on, but Rock, Paper, Shotgun sort of describe, it's Witcher 3 with your, gun for hire type quests. Watch Dogs, because what they refer to as the crime gremlin, your the little pet that you have, can do remote hacking. Far Cry 3, because you get binoculars and there are enemy bases to, tag all the enemies and take over. Red Dead
Binoculars.
Redemption 2, because is a crime level, a wanted level, and so a variety of those little mini games. And Uncharted, because apparently everything you're allowed to climb is highlighted yellow. So you mix all of that together into one game with QuickTime events and little mini games, and yeah, you are so scattered, there are going to be problems. It's how it all ties together. But the thing is, it ain't out yet.
Right.
I'm not pre-ordering games. You don't pre-order games.
But you know what is out?
Yeah, I think we've stated that.
The
Numerous
original.
times. It comes
the
out
full
Friday.
Original Marathon Trilogy. Free on Steam.
True.
Nice.
All of them.
So real quick, back to the Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay.
So I actually
topic,
have
yes.
I have a copy of this because I got a free copy with a processor I bought a few months ago.
Okay.
Is your processor still running?
People that pre-ordered the Ultimate and Gold license are actually playing it now. Supposedly, I've got it preloaded. I should be able to play it tomorrow, according to Ubisoft.
Correct. You might be able to play it right now.
Not quite. I checked earlier today. I'm actually excited to play this.
I never would have guessed that, considering you're a massive Star Wars fan.
Yeah. It's funny. Some of the comments I've seen, some of the negative reviews on this game have been from people who have not played it. They've seen screenshots. Some of the comments are just ridiculous. The protagonist is ugly.
Yeah.
If that's why you're playing a game, I don't understand. Anyway. But yes, so you should be able to play tomorrow if you bought an Intel processor in the last few months. And I actually think
that's the big problem here. And that really reflects poorly upon the people who are playing this game, that they bought an Intel processor in the last 3 months.
What are you saying, Josh?
Poor
Their
Sebastian.
motherboard's on fire.
No, not the motherboard. That was... Never mind.
This
One of the chips
chip
that go with the
is on
motherboard.
fire.
All right. So, yeah, go to Steam and get the Marathon Trilogy for free. Though, apparently there's no word from Bungie about a reboot. Is there a rumor of a reboot?
Yeah, there is. But I mean, with so many properties being, rebooted, remade, sometimes in a cash grab. Okay, always in a cash grab moment.
Always.
Yeah, but sometimes it's actually good. Sometimes you're like, you want to give that a throw. I'd play a Marathon remake.
What remake?
Okay, I gotta ask.
Has any of us played? Okay, Josh.
As we're moving along.
Josh.
Has anyone actually tried the Black Mystic Wukong? Black Mythic?
Oh, I think Jeremy had something to say about that last week.
That was last week, yeah. And no, I haven't.
That's apparently, the benchmark was released, but there's something like 37 million people playing it on Steam.
So it's a really big hit.
It broke the simultaneous players record on Steam that was held by Cyberpunk, and it doubled
and it's 128 gig download.
Yeah.
It's massive. And it is the crisis now of its time. And not only that, but apparently it's just fun to play, unlike Crisis when it first came out.
Yeah, it seems like
I would like to thank all of our viewers for choosing us over Wukong.
But we're going to see a drop in viewership because they're all playing that game.
Soon.
Yeah. All right, so last story in Gaming Quick Hits, I think. Fallout dev comments on the possibility of playing ghouls in Fallout 5. So apparently they're popular now because of the live action series. Everybody wants to be a ghoul.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I think I labeled it as the cycle of gaming producing or influencing art, being the series that Amazon built and released. And then in turn, because the actor who was playing the ghouls, or the ghoul, can't remember his name right now, but
Walton Goggins.
yeah, Walton Goggins, thank you.
Walton Goggins
Was so compelling that people were like, what a cool character. And they've put it back in Fallout 76. Ghouls are now playable in Fallout 76. But Fallout 5, probably going to be more of a single player option again. At least I'm hoping. Got my fingers crossed on that. Definitely strong consideration to make Ghouls a PC in that. Which is
after all the fanfic that got written about him.
So
yeah,
games influencing art, influencing games, kind of like making this full circle.
But don't worry, Fallout London's out, and there'll be a new patch soon to fix some of the other things. Yeah. Bit of a challenge to install, but it's a hell of a lot of fun.
There is actually one more story in Gaming Quick Hits, and it's about GameStop Retro. GameStop Retro capitalizing on the fact that people, my age are now getting nostalgic about the 90s. So let's offer up a place to go to buy the stuff that GameStop stopped selling a number of years ago because it was too old. Now you can sell your counterfeit carts to GameStop because apparently they have no policy to check to see if they're legitimate or not. And then you can go into a GameStop Retro and buy a fake cart for $30, $40, $50, and there's no recourse. I was reading about this on Twitter today because they have no policy.
So you're saying I should invest in this company?
Check. So I think that might be a good short-term investment, Jeremy.
Diamond hands.
Short-term investment.
I'm a little worried about them getting into the retro cart business at the one time in history where it has never been easier or less expensive to get reproduction carts. That might be fine. They might not work at all. But you should never buy a retro cart unless you're allowed to open it and look at the board inside.
I like saying something like GameStop, looking to remain relevant, turns to retro gaming.
Turns?
Well, think about
turns to?
Well, there's a
they're
huge
really pushing it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like 35, 40, who might say, "Man, I miss my Super Nintendo."
Young kids.
Now, where it might actually be useful is to buy a previous gen console. Like you're not going to buy a counterfeit PS3, probably.
Wait, so I can buy a cheap Blu-ray player through those guys,
right?
Remember,
and disc-based games are probably safe, but
Microsoft
carts
just turned off one of the Xbox stores, right?
Yes, I'm sure that Game Boy Color Pokemon is perfectly usable.
I don't know if $44.99 for this probably fake Game Boy Color cart is a great deal.
$42.74 for pros, whatever that means. Apparently, you're going to have to subscribe to something for a cheap, a minuscule discount.
Let's see. Do they have Super Nintendo? Oh, Super Nintendo. How much can I buy this totally authentic? Do they have Chrono Trigger? I'm sure it's completely real.
I was going to ask about Sega Saturn because there's no way in hell anything survived from that.
I wonder if it looks like they did a fairly good job with this one. The
$100?
This is a stock photo, of course.
That's so authentic at $100. Come on.
If I can't look at the PCB in there, what if I get it and it's fake and then I try to return it like, no, sorry.
Well, what does the fine print say there?
Pre-owned guarantee.
It's been carefully tested and guaranteed to work.
That was the thing.
7 days.
If they can guarantee that the cartridge works, that's good enough for them. They will not guarantee it's authentic. They do not make any guarantee that it's authentic.
So if somebody stole the code and, blew it onto a PROM and then repackaged it.
Yes.
It's fine? It's fine.
Yeah. I guess you can return it.
They also specifically say that it works. They don't necessarily say it's the same game you bought.
No, they don't say it's authentic anywhere. It just says it's been carefully tested and is guaranteed to work. If you're not completely satisfied, return the product within 7 days for your money back.
So there's that.
And it also says item pictured may not be exact item received. Right. So you're going to get one that has, a carefully torn label and
Yeah, I was just going to
looks
throw out the
old.
phrase white label, but okay.
it's
literally a white label
literally
with
just
a
has
It's with a
Sharpie.
Sharpie marker on it, going like Legend of the Seven Stars.
that might actually be an
It's
authentic
spelled.
one. Like it just says, I have a bunch of games that have somebody's name written on the back. It's like Kevin in like huge letters.
Steve.
Because that's just, I got them from someone named
Exactly.
Kevin.
Exactly,
When I bought 'em
because
on eBay.
Angela and Steve separated their games and they wrote their names on them.
Who doesn't do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Let's move to picks of the week. Josh,
Picks
do you
of the week.
remember your pick?
Yes, I do. So I bought one of these about a year ago, and it has worked fantastic. Of course, it's the knockoff, and everybody has it, and the brand names are just so diverse. Lots of consonants with maybe a vowel or two in the company name.
So you're saying
but
it's Welsh?
pretty much, except from Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay.
But it's beside the point. It's a handbrake for racing, and no.
What? You said handbrake.
That looks like a possum.
I don't
I
understand.
sure did say handbrake. But in the very
this
traditional sense.
handbrake.
Joni. Why don't you grab that me with
Looks a little rude.
I got
and,
fooled.
Yeah, $60. It gives you a nice cast aluminum with a reasonable Hall effect sensor and mounting materials to do a nice handbrake for your racing rig. It's a little adjustable. It doesn't always fit most cockpits, but you got to be, inventive to get it going.
to fit it in the
And you can do it.
cockpit.
I have faith. It's
I
a
want to see that
design that
replaced
everybody
with
has
an
used.
all
But
aluminum
it just works.
Hoonigan
Yeah,
engraved
exactly.
one. That's what I want to see.
Exactly. No, my wife is not from Southeast Asia. She's from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Actually, she's from Berlin, but yeah. Anyway,
Those are some of your favorite
My
games.
children,
There, those dirt games,
however,
by the way.
are
Those look
from-
good.
Yeah.
So this is for
it's nice
applying that
handbrake
e-brake around
for racing.
curves. Okay.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you drift with
Yeah,
this,
and
Josh?
it's inexpensive. Pretty good stuff. What?
Nice. You do any drifting with your handbrake? Or no, is that not really how you drift?
The only thing drifting is the hair off the top of my head.
I see.
Is
Drifting
there
away.
provision on your collapsible gaming chair to mount this handbrake in the right position?
There's no collapsible gaming chair. My wife has rearranged my living room, and it's very hard to move my rig there. So I
It's
haven't
okay.
raced
Hey,
in a long
he
time.
just puts it
And there's a lot
between
of
his
bitterness.
legs.
There's a
And
lot
it
of
feels
bitterness
natural. He tucks it
I'm
in
worried about
down
you.
there and just he has access to that expanding handle.
I'm worried
Whenever he
about
needs
your gaming rig in the living room, Josh. I don't feel like you're getting the respect that you deserve.
I'm not. I'm the moneymaker of the family, and somehow I just keep getting pushed to the back of the bus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is taking a turn.
This has been an uplifting version of the PCPer per second podcast.
All right.
Old
Best
white
one ever.
guy complaining about being discriminated against by his family.
Okay.
So
Wait a minute. You're white? Oh, I thought it was just the reflections off of your. Okay. Jeremy,
Wow.
your pick this week.
Okay, so if you thought Star Wars Outlaws was a bit of a cluster, no. I want to believe. I ran into this. There's a free Steam demo. It looks absolutely freaking hilarious. It is also horrible. One guy is doing most of the voices, and he's really, really not good. Chose Unity for a first-person shooter.
Oh,
thing.
no.
Yeah. So the stealth is really hard.
I hope
because
a million people don't download it.
hard to really figure out. Well, I mean, it's cheaper than Unreal. Trying to figure out, the stealth mission where you're taking the alien and trying to dump it in the back of your pickup truck so that you can drive around and dump it into a mine shaft or a bathtub full of a whole bunch of dissolving chemicals that will dissolve it.
So it's like Goat Simulator quality, is what you're saying.
Oh, it's not even that good.
Oh,
it's not even. But there's a whole. If the full game comes out, there's like the whole crime scene thing. So you sneak in the town's being built, taken over by aliens, and you kill the alien, but you got to clean up afterwards. So you get the viscera cleanup detail of cleaning it up. And come on, just play the first video. Just play the little intro one. It's the people, at least the music, were really good.
I don't think there's any sound with this video feed.
Isn't there?
No, I mean not the way I have it hooked up right now. There isn't.
Oh, that's too bad.
Which is probably for the best, because then
no, it's not, because it is actually hilarious. So it doesn't look horrible, but give it a shot, because chances are it's gonna fail horribly. They've got way too many things they want to incorporate into this.
I hope the frame rate's better than this video. Apparently,
yes, significantly better.
My laptop is just in low power mode or something, because this looks terrible.
Yeah. No, it's actually performs a lot better than that. It is Unity, so good. It doesn't hammer your system that hard. Yes. Give it a shot. If you like Plan 9 from Outer Space or other just horrifically horrible things.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
You might have a blast. It may come out eventually, but hey, for now we've got the demo.
Brett. Bront.
Mine, Bront here. I don't really have a lot of superlatives on this one. Not a lot to talk about other than good deal on a case. I have a gaming computer built in the Tower 100. The Tower 200 is essentially a larger version of that case, which can accommodate the optional LCD panel display in the lower part for temperatures, fan speeds, and some other configuration options that you can convert to display in there. But this can accommodate larger CPUs, larger GPUs, all the way up to typical 4090 sizes, whereas the original Tower 100 had some trouble with the older, like larger 3080s and things of the previous series. So this is a cool case with a lot of glass on it and a ton of breathing room. There's enough room for up to a 280 AIO or other water cooling if you'd like to use that. A couple of 140 fans. Even got some space in the back for some spinning rust if you really want it. And at $84, black or white, is a fairly good deal from Thermaltake. It's a cool case if you like this sort of vertical, get your system on display.
So you're saying Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder would approve?
I'd agree, but you'd have to leave the sides off in order to get Stevie Wonder to approve, because you'd have to kind of reach in there and kind of feel it out.
That was Michael Jackson, but...
You are black and I am white.
I thought it was Michael Jackson.
And I have sight.
What did he do with the... Oh, he did The Boy Is... The Girl Is Mine.
He did The Girl Is Mine.
The Girl Is Mine with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay. He did, of course.
But yeah, this is for your...
You are blind
your
and
white
I've got
build.
sight doesn't work with either of Michael Jackson.
I see. I wasn't thinking of the lyrics.
No. That's
I knew that he did one with Michael.
On these actual cases, as an actual
let me go back to this screen.
Thing. These are for ITX boards. So the case is actually fairly sizable for an ITX style case, but it's a very cool way to display your gear.
They don't really look like computer cases. This looks like
3D printer,
like an air fryer, or possibly a very small electric smoker.
Yes.
Why not both? Put in a brand new Intel processor. Put some wood chips in that heat sink. And
We've
away
got
you go.
a couple of other suggestions: bar fridge or popcorn machine from the YouTube chat.
Popcorn machine. Yeah, I can see that too.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Oh.
be forced to agree with both of those. Actually, yeah, 3D printer. I already chimed in.
Hey,
on
you
that
know,
one.
Walmart is selling Xbox fridges now.
Yes.
They're there. You can get them.
Are they?
Target
Yes.
is selling Mega Bloks
Target.
Xbox 360 consoles in the console aisle, which fooled me. I saw somebody else posting somewhere that they were excited for just a moment and then disappointed immediately because it's in the box. It looks like an Xbox 360. Like, what? You can buy these things again and like pick it up. It's just Mega Bloks. But you'd never know.
Toy claw machine. Anyway,
Yeah.
you slam all your PC components into this sort of case. It's so open on most of the sides. It's going to move a shit ton of air. You're going to love it, especially if you air
Wow.
cool.
Bront is swearing now. It's out of character.
I did.
Oh my.
Threw it out.
Okay.
I take it back.
Kent.
You will really like this case.
Yeah. Or else. Kent, your pick.
How about some inexpensive storage? 1 terabyte, Gen 5. It's only 2 lanes of Gen 5. $70. It's not the fastest Gen 5. It's probably the slowest Gen 5 I've ever seen, actually. But it's Samsung 990 Evo. $70 for a terabyte. Thought it was a good deal.
Prime members, they get all the deals.
They do. Sebastian, I hope you have a pick this week.
I do. My pick is MSI BIOS updates. Because we heard earlier about MSI BIOS updates that were increasing the power to those 9000 series.
What you
CPUs.
gonna
I
do
wanna
with
know-
all that power?
Is that is it true? I want to believe that it's true.
Beginning of the month.
So it's the latest Agiso, which everybody needs in their life.
Oh, it's patch A. Yeah.
And it's optimized with Curve Optimizer and Curve Shaper with Ryzen 9000 series CPUs.
Does it come with mineral oil?
A barrel full, Josh.
Anyway,
With an
allegedly,
intern in it.
the TDP has increased to 105 watts for those 65 watt parts that we were complaining about a couple weeks ago. So maybe you'll get higher multi-threaded performance.
We did. It seemed unfair to cap them at 65.
Oh, it's a leaked BIOS. Okay, so this is not the current BIOS. It's a leaked.
Oh,
All right, so by all means, go to forums, find the leaked BIOS, download it. I'm sure it's perfectly
Scan a
safe.
QR code.
If you
Jump to that URL.
Yeah.
Download.
All right, so the BIOS I just showed on the screen is not the right one. You got to find
And
the
then
leaked
flash your
BIOS
motherboard with it.
in a
Flash that
comment
motherboard.
on a videocards.com post.
and when the motherboard BIOS, when you go into it to change things, just click on that QR code as well.
Yeah,
It's going to be fine.
Well, I got the manual for my motherboard by scanning a QR code on the box. So that's
perfect.
You know, it's probably fine.
Instantly trust.
All right.
Just printing a QR code sort of conveys some sort of trust to people, which is weird.
I feel like it does. I
it's
print Amazon QR codes and take them to the UPS store to return things.
Yes.
I tape the piece of paper to the thing and I say, "Here's my."
And they scan them.
They do,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then I get a refund almost
about that.
immediately.
Think about that for a second. A malicious actor creates a QR code for an Amazon return that they scan at the UPS store, which causes their computer to pull in a malicious code package.
And sends the return directly to them and not Amazon.
You own UPS. You own UPS after that.
Who wants to own UPS, though?
I don't
No.
know.
I mean,
Somebody
honestly.
No. All right.
Yes, CR Paul, we did discuss the mask changes on Blackwell.
Yeah.
At the earlier in the thing.
Yep.
Sorry. But
It's fine.
let's wrap things up.
Yeah. Hey, Josh. So why don't you wrap up the show for
let's
us?
Protect things. You know what? We live in a world where things happen at a very fast pace, and people make money, and they make money off of you. And this isn't some kind of communist manifesto. It's just life, because you know what? I like hardware. I like computer things. I like chips that do amazing things visually I can see and move through. And you know what? That takes money. Yeah, and it takes people to design these things to make me happy. And you know what? Sometimes it's nice to be happy. I deserve to be happy. And you know what? You do too. Because I don't know where I'm going with this, but spend your money on computer hardware and be happy and listen to a podcast. Good night.